What to look for when you're buying a home. You've talked to the lender. You're pre-approved. You've hired an agent. All right, they're sending you properties. There's 6 or 7 on your list that really, have the bedrooms you want, the bathrooms you want. They're in the right town or school district. It has the right square footage, and it even has a fenced yard. And you want to go see these properties. You're ready to hit the ground running. So then what? Now, how do you determine which is the right house for you? Right? There is going to be an emotional aspect of it. But what we're talking about in today's video is about the condition aspect of it. Things like curb appeal, that can be addressed. Things like the roof, that's what we're investigating today. What are some of the things that are really important that you need to keep your eye on as you're walking through homes? Because maybe somebody put lipstick on a pig and then it's just smoke and mirrors. Or sometimes you walk in a house, it's like, this house was really, really well maintained. And you can just tell. And that's what we're going to share with you today. Some of those ideas from just being in the business 19 years. I'm Gregg Tepper. I'm an associate broker, CEO, operator of the Tepper Group, powered by Place at Keller Williams. And this is our video. What we're going to do, I'm going to flip the camera around and we're going to have some fun. So we're at a foreclosed home. And over my 19 years in real estate, everybody loves to talk about foreclosures. I want to get a foreclosure. I want to fix it up and make it my own. Even if it's only just a dream and not anything that's truly serious, people love to talk about foreclosures and just look at them online. And I get it because they give you like this blank slate. Like, for instance, this house, talk about curb appeal, it doesn't have any. And that's okay. We're not looking at the curb appeal. We're looking at the roof. So when you're looking at a roof, keep in mind, like on a foreclosure also, they don't necessarily have disclosure forms, so we don't know the age. But you can see times on a roof where, hey, that looks like it's in really good condition. Sometimes you can see different colored shingles that indicate there was a repair. Sometimes you can see the silver lining, like when the asphalt granules get eroded away, there's like a silver lining that shows up on the edge of each shingle. That shows age. All right. Also, if it's a 2-story house, you can look out one of the windows and see if there's any pitting, hail marks, or anything like that. That also shows age. You're not really going to know from a ground level view where I'm at right now, like what's the true condition of the roof without getting up there. That's what the home inspector is for. But from a cursory look, as we walk around the house, this roof is in good condition. All right, so what else are we looking at that's super important? We're looking at foundation, right? This house has a really good exposed foundation. And when we look at foundation, as a side note, we also look at termites. We're in southeast Louisiana. We got termites. If you don't have termites, you're going to have, if you had never had termites, rather, you're going to have termites one day. And what they show up as is like a little, almost like as thick as my pinky or thinner of like a little dirt trail that comes up. Those are your subterraneans. They come up and they start eating your wood from the inside. Thankfully, it happens slowly, but this is a good exposed slab to see if there's ever any termites. Also, you have the swarmers or formosans that show up in your attic. Different bug, even worse. That's a different type of inspection. But as a cursory look, looking at homes, which one's going to help set it apart? Like if you find the mud trails on one and not on the other, it makes it an easy decision to cross it off the list. So on the foundation, this house has brick, right? Very easy to see if there's any movement. Now let's say up front, all homes, and I mean all homes will settle over time. A lot of times you will find some cracking in the brick as part of settlement. Yet there are times when you will see some stair stepping cracking that will go through the mortar, and it can go in a long line going all the way down. Or even worse is when you see several cracks and the stair stepping going through bricks. That's even more like, okay, maybe there's something going on there with the foundation. Other indicators on the foundation, like you have vinyl here. Windows will pull away. Harder to see on vinyl than it is on, say, brick or even stucco. You can see gaps between the window and other things, the other substance, the siding of what the house might be. And the foundation on this house looks like it's in really good shape. One note about stucco also. Stucco in southeast Louisiana don't really go, but you find stucco on a ton of homes down here. It's just this moisture-loving material and just kind of sucks it in. And then the key to have great stucco and avoid any issues over the years is to seal it regularly. So imagine this is stucco and you have your window. You want to make sure your joints along here are sealed every 2 years or so. Keep them fresh along the bottom of the window. It keeps moisture from getting behind the stucco and rotting out the wood behind it. Also look for cracks in the stucco. Cracking is going to be normal in stucco. I've learned this from a really good stucco contractor over the years. When it gets to be more than 1/8 of an inch thick, that's when you have to pay attention to it just in terms of maintenance. Right? Doesn't mean that there's a foundation problem or anything like that. It's just it has to be maintained. And so you paint it regularly as well. We're just looking at the rest of the house. One thing, as when you're looking at homes, you can see if there's any ever drainage issues with the property itself. When there's a lot of rain or if water sits, it won't have grass. With a lot of trees, you tend not to have grass also, but if there's a back corner of the property that doesn't have grass and it just looks kind of muddy, even if it hasn't rained, you can tell that water accumulates there. And you can see it over here, actually. Even though there's a lot of leaves, this is all the runoff from the roof hits right here. And that's why you have no grass here. So there's ways you can make this better. You can add gravel. You can add subsurface drainage if you want to increase the beauty of it. Otherwise, you can just let it hit, and then it's not going to flood your area based on what we're seeing here. Moving inside. Now, being a foreclosure, sometimes all the bulbs aren't working. That's okay. What we're looking for, even if this was move-in ready, like anything on the ceiling, discolorations, that can mean signs of a past repair. A lot of times we will see stains on the ceiling. If it's a roof leak, it means that there's a lot of roof leak happening because it had to go from the roof through the attic and then wet the ceiling sheetrock. Typically what it is, it's your air conditioning, or it could be your water heater as well if it's up in the attic. And there's a drain pan that's full, there's some lines that are sweating, and it's just dripping, 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 causing a water stain on the ceiling. Typically not a big deal, something that should be addressed. Something that we advise all of our sellers to do is to go into the attic, which we will do here in a little bit, and make sure that your drain pans are clean and things are serviced up there. In this instance, this AC is in a closet on the main floor, which in my opinion is great because if that drain pan ever does fill up, it's not leaking, as we're talking about, and staining your ceiling. This unit is probably as old as I am, and that's saying something. But it's here. You want to make sure, like, hey, is there mildew on it? Has it been maintained? You can see the quality of the ductwork, the seams, where the plenum is, and how that looks. Is it dented? It just shows if there's been a lot of care and maintenance taken on the house or not. Here in the laundry room, so when you're going through, you're looking at floors. Obviously, this house is dirty. We get it. But what's going on the floors, you can see stains on floors sometime, like something was here. And what we think is that there was a cage here, like a dog kennel, and they just made it funky, like whatever they were, maybe they spoiled it, maybe there was water spilled on there, hard to say. Here's your water heater. Also nice that it's in the laundry room, not in the attic, for leak purposes. You can see there's also some staining here. And that's probably from the laundry. This is where your hookups are. Obviously under your sinks, under your kitchen sink is a big one. You can always tell when somebody repaired or replaced something or when there was a leak. So in here, considering the condition of the house, it's actually pretty good under here. In the back, there's a little bit of staining and some staining on that pipe. So it could have been an old leak, could be a current leak. So coming back and talking about foundation again, there's tattletales on the inside of the house about the foundation as well. Same way that if you have cracking on the outside of the brick, you'll find cracks on the inside too. You'll also have separation on your windows on the inside of the house. And the type of cracking that I'm referring to is what we call naughty cracks. They're those diagonal cracks. A lot of times you'll find them over windows like this, and they go off in some kind of jagged, asymmetric angle. You can find them under windows as well. There are none in this house. And even so, a home inspector taught me this, that a lot of times when people, if they have some movement in their foundation, they'll paint. People paint for staging purposes to help the house look good, but a lot of times people don't paint the inside of the closet. So sometimes you can see if there's cracks, the naughty cracks going off on the side of the closet. Nice little trick there. And then sometimes you will find, and I don't even see any in this house, but you'll find a straight line crack, a very thin hairline. Those don't concern me as a realtor. That, as I mentioned earlier, all homes settle, and that's just a seam in the sheetrock. And when your sheetrock is 20 or 30 or 40 years old, yeah, eventually things are, the tape separates, it just gets old, and it has to be maintained. It's not necessarily a foundation issue. Let's go check out the attic. So here we are up in the attic. Even if your air handler and your hot water heater are downstairs, it's nice to come in the attic because I've been in attics like with other creatures, raccoons, bats, squirrels, like seen it all, and you'll find, their little excrement in areas. Sometimes you'll find like a really, really, really bad smell. That's just them fouling up, going potty in the insulation. So just words-wise, check out the attic for sure. And that's also, as I mentioned before, your AC. You can see if the ducts have been dented or if the plenum over there has been dented as well. All in all, everything is just in good shape. This house truly looks like it's just needs some aesthetic TLC. A couple more points, and the last one is going to be the best one. So stay tuned for that. But electrical is super important. Those are the big scare items. I'm not an electrician. Most people don't know anything about electrical. You can see some things once in a while, like you'll see burn marks on an outlet. Literally, like just from the outlet has these black charring that goes up. Things to be aware of. Sometimes I've been in homes with a light switch. You put your hand on, and it is really, really hot, almost like you're putting your hand on top of a toaster oven, and it's like, wow, okay, something's going on there. Those are little things that should be addressed. If you love the house still, go for it. The inspector can test that kind of thing, because by no means is this video, this kind of general walkthrough to replace an inspection. It's not. It just helps you make a decision between one house and another, and you can always tell by the smell, by the baseboards, if the house has been maintained or not. So a couple other ideas. I know we're down to one more, but there's really two. And this is really the most important. If you really want to know what's going on in a neighborhood, talk to the neighbors. They know far more, and they're going to give you way more information than anybody else, more than you possibly even asked for. But it's great. They're a great resource, and they're typically happy to share that information with you. So go knock on the door to the left of the house. Go knock on the door across the street. Knock on the door to the right. See if they're willing to give you information. I bet you that somebody will for sure. And then lastly is, what is the overall neighborhood like? What does the drainage look like, especially down here in Southeast Louisiana? Really important to take a look at. Where does the house you're interested in, sit on the street? Is it a little bit higher, a little bit lower? What does the yard look like? Where are there bare spots that water could be holding? So super important things, very important to pay attention to. And I really hope you enjoy the video, that it helps you as you start your home search journey out this spring. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much. And again, if you did like it, give it a thumbs up. I sure do appreciate it. Bye-bye.